Behind the back! Are you serious? No hesitation on the shot. Ms. Rye's feeling it. Make it 3 for 3.
And Ciolino, see you later.
Here's a chance for Sias, another shot, and a goal!
Will Spare will take it all the way. Touchdown Seahawks.
The extra look, and the goal! A gorgeous goal by
Welcome to Garden City High School, where this afternoon the Varsity Media Sports Network presents this Nassau Conference 2 showdown between the 9th-seeded Bruins of Baldwin against the top seed and defending champions, the Trojans of Garden City. Good afternoon, everyone. Dylan Butler here with Mike Hungerford, and gorgeous afternoon here at Garden City High School as we remember, of course, the horrific terrorist attacks of September 11th. It's the 20th anniversary. Hard to kind of believe that to be the fact. And as we saw last night at Cold Spring Harbor, and we'll see surely throughout all the different communities in Nassau and Suffolk County, they'll have, they'll remember those moments and have a special commemoration of them on the field, which we will show you as it happens. We'll have a speech from the Garden City principal, and the band will play as well. And it's hard to believe it's been 20 years, but that is the fact. We'll send it down to the field, and we'll check out these ceremonies here from Garden City High School.
Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and Flight 93 over Pennsylvania. These attacks were devastating to many New Yorkers and their families, including first responders and others from the Garden City community. Many of us were directly impacted by the results of that day, and we will never forget the intensity of the day or the people we lost. In the days, weeks, and months following that day, our country was united in a way we have never seen before or again in this lifetime. Because of that, this day is named Patriots Day. Please stand and remove your cap as we observe a moment of silence and the playing of taps to remember all of those we lost because of the attack on that day. Thank you, Tyler Glenn, Senior, All-State musician, for the playing of taps. Please remain standing for the playing of the National Anthem by the Garden City Marching Band.
And you see the Trojans coming out, led by number 77. That's Brendan Staub. It's a special number here for Garden City. You see Staub with the flag as well. That's because it honors Paul Ekna. Ekna was one of the 455 deaths in Nassau and Suffolk County, one of the 23 from Garden City. Ekna, a former football player here at Garden City. He is also an impact player for this reason. Mike, there's special numbers in every program, right? And usually there's coaches and different situations how you get that. Dave Vettinger, the head coach of Garden City, said it was a no-brainer to have Brendan Staub be number 77 to remember the memory of Paul Ekna. And Ekna was an international equity trader at Cantor Fitzgerald, headquartered atop One World Trade Center, one of 8 Garden City residents among the 658 Cantor Fitzgerald employees who died on that tragic Tuesday morning. So Staub, a very special honor for him, and especially on today, the 20th anniversary of the attacks of September 11th.
I think it's one thing to know Brendan Staub returning all-Long Island player. Tremendous lineman for the Garden City team last spring that went undefeated. But I think even greater than that, it speaks to a lot of who he is as a person, his work ethic. Steve Fennell, the assistant coach, and I think Paul Ekna were teammates together at Garden City. So it speaks a lot to give that number to Brendan and say that usually it's probably a challenge to find the right guy. Maybe there's a couple different people, right? But no disrespect to anybody else in the Garden City program. But Brendan Staub was obviously their number one choice.
Hey, he said sometimes it's difficult. This was a no-brainer. He said he's so athletic. He kind of wishes he didn't have to have him on the line. But he's just so tough and smart. One of the best athletes on the team, one of the fastest athletes as well. There you see the handshake between the two teams. So our impact player, you see him there for Baldwin as well. Running off, it's Anthony Byron, number 23, a junior, two-way starter, a captain. He's a guy who loves that physicality. He hits. He's not afraid to come down and go after someone. Very aggressive. He'll be the running back. He'll also play on the defensive side of things. For Baldwin's head coach in his very first game, first season for Frank Chimenti, a guy who certainly paid his dues. Chimenti, a Holy Cross grad, 1990. Played for Coach Marshall at LIU Post, was a 3-year captain there. A nose tackle. Then he spent 13 years as an assistant coach on the Brian Collins at Post as well. Went to Valley Stream Central for 5 years, head coach there. An assistant at Nassau for 1. And then a 5-year assistant under Russ Sellen at Freeport. He credits Sellen, does Chimenti, for getting him back in. And he said he's learned so much from all those guys. He takes over for Steve Carroll, of course, who spent 34 seasons building up the Baldwin program. A 165, 121, and 4 record in his time there. 24 playoff wins, and including a Nassau Conference 1 championship in 2005. The head coach at Garden City is Dave Vettinger in his 6th season out of Comac High School, 1993 graduate. Been with the Garden City program since 1999. High school level since 2005. Former 4-year kicker at Hofstra. The Pride, or I guess at the time, the Dutchman's all-time leading scorer. So 2 guys who know about history, know about tradition. Certainly Ettinger following up the terrific history that's been here at Garden City, and Chimenti trying to get Baldwin back.
I think when you think of Garden City, you know what you're going to get. Coach Ettinger spent much time with Coach Flatley, who was here for a very long time, legendary coach, Tom Flatley. Late Tom Flatley, who was a tremendous job here at Garden City. Tremendous winning percentage. I think when you think of Garden City, you know what you're going to get. We're going to see what we're going to get from Baldwin. We have a new starter, Baldwin, Coach Chimenti. Defensive-minded guy, Coach Chimenti. I think you'll see defensively. But offensively, we see what they bring to the table. Might be a little different than the Baldwin of the past.
Yeah, a lot of the things that we saw defensively out of Freeport, I think expect out of these guys at Baldwin. Again, coming from that system, coming from that side of the ball. Opening kickoff of the 2021 season goes right through the end zone for a touchback. So Baldwin will start on offense. And their quarterback, number 5, is Zach Kirschner. Now, this is an offense and really a defense, but you talk about sort of a rebuilding year for Baldwin, a start of a program. Not many, returning players, but even a lot of guys who just have not played a snap of varsity and even organized football. So a lot of learning, but Chimenti says he loves that. He's not discouraged. It's kind of like just having some clay and able to mold it himself, not worrying about sort of what they've learned before. Kirchner, the starting quarterback, the senior, has great command of the offense. So Baldwin starts 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Kirchner is in shotgun. Fakes the handoff. First is a pass. Incomplete. We'll take a look at the starters. The intended target there was Dan Taylor, number 8. First for Baldwin, and here are your offensive starters. We mentioned Kirchner at QB. You've got Malden and Byron are your dual running backs. Shanette, Platt, and Wallace, the receivers. Pace, Davidson, Ward, Campbell, and Mills up front. 2nd and 10, cutting inside, trying to spin, nowhere to go. A loss of 5 on the play. Garden City defense coming up big. We'll show you their starters now. A lot of familiar names here for the Trojans off that championship team year ago. Cascadin, Stenson, Paisley, Olson, and Staub up front. The linebacker duo of Peters and Kephart. Weber, Fargione, Vortuba, and Durkesh in the secondary. Flag on the play.
Yep, looks like you probably have a little Jack Cascadin a little excited up there. You know, he wants to, he's a high motor guy. Might jump the snap count a little bit there. Baldwin will get 5 yards back. But, you know, when you look at Garden City and you think of football, you think of defense, Coach Flatley, and now, of course, with Coach Fidel, coaching the defense, a multiple unit. They'll play some out front. They'll play some even front. Looks like they're in a longer yardage with more of an even front right now. And they have the kind of size players that can play on the line and play off the line.
Kirschner tries to find Wallace. That is incomplete, which will set up a 4th down now, and 8th. So Baldwin goes 3 and out. They're going to be forced to punt. Cedric Jean-Pierre is their kicker, punter, a wide receiver as well.
See what happens here in this punt formation. They have a kind of a spread punt formation here.
Nearly blocked. Gets it off. It takes a Garden City bounce, and it's downed at the 48-yard line. So the Trojans will come on to the field offensively, and they are led, as they have been for the last couple of years now. You see number 14 there, Luke Schmidt. Ettinger says, look, you can say what you want about number of year starters, but when you start a county final, a Long Island championship as a sophomore, he considers that a full year. I mean, that's enough pressure in those games. So he calls Schmidt a 3-year starter, cool, calm, collected, just such a good athlete. He has that intestinal fortitude, Ettinger says, that you want to have in a quarterback. Always has a knack for making the big plays, and has this offense, which is not an easy one to get down, absolutely mastered at this point. 1st and 10 from the Baldwin 48. Man in motion. Handoff goes. Keeper to Schmidt. Fake the handoff to Cascadin. Schmidt's pulled down at the 43-yard line. Let's take a look at the rest of the starters on Garden City's offense. See up front, you've got Cascadin, Fargione, Parisa, Vortuba, and Considine. Considine had a great year on the junior varsity a year ago up front. Some big dudes there. Staub, we mentioned. Stenson, Cruciello at center, Cabana, and Sawyer Olson. A couple of two-way starters in Staub and Olson on both sides of that line. There's Cascadin. You're not getting them down by 1 man, that's for sure. Gets inside the 40. We'll take a look at the Baldwin defense as they face a 3rd down situation. Up front, you've got Mills, Bonsu, Campbell, and Davidson, the linebacking core of Rivera, Costa, and Ramsey. In the secondary, Angel Johnson, look out for him, a freshman. Wallace, The whip is Byron, and Platt is a cornerback. 3rd and 1 for Garden City. Power I. Handoff Cascadin. Powers forward. That's a first down, and a little bit more gets to the 37-yard line.
See, Garden City came out on the first play, a little more of a spread look, 2-by-1 set, 2 backs, and ran the ball a little bit. Second play, they come out and they jump in a double tight with a power I set in the backfield and get a first down with 2 plays there. And now it looks like they're switching personnel, getting back into that spread look a little bit here with a double set, more receiver look. And you'll have the always dangerous Cascade in the backfield because, as you alluded to, tackling him with one man is not easy.
End arounds. Nice run, a first down and more for Vortuba. The junior, terrific athlete, good hands. What Ettinger liked about Vortuba is he's a guy who will spell Cascading. You see there Cascading to the right hip, and then Schmidt just sort of follows him. And a great block there, too, by Cascading, allowing Vortuba to get out inside the 20.
Yeah, well-designed play there, a little fly sweep, jet sweep action. You can see with the slot in motion there, getting the ball. I think we have a penalty, though.
It is. It's an offensive holding penalty, so that'll back Garden City up.
Depending on where it is, a spot foul, it will still be first down depending on where the ball's going to go to. But I thought that was a well-designed play right there. You know, you had Cascade leading the way, big man blocking out in space, and they had numbers there, and Vortuba there is able to turn the corner and get some good yardage out of it.
Andrew said in terms of like a season outlook, he says, you know, having 3 players of the caliber of Schmidt, Cascadin, and Staub, that's a great starting point. He goes, but those are 3 players on a football team. We need to see how the other guys step up to new situations, but it's a great starting point with that guy 14 and 21 as well on your screen. To have those 2 guys as well as Staub 77, you like to start the gravy with those 3, that's for sure.
Well, Garden City, the program traditionally so talented, and they bring guys along, and their first-year starters will be tremendous players by the end of the year, no doubt.
1st and 22. Schmidt again with the keeper. Pumps the brakes, cuts inside. He's taken down at about the 41-yard line. A couple guys in on the tackle. Lincoln DeCosta, 57. Mike linebacker was hurt all summer, so Schmenti said, I didn't really know what to expect from him, but he had a great camp, one of the smartest kids they have, and he's kind of running the whole defense with his calls as well.
Number one part defensively in football nowadays in high school is just getting lined up, right? Like Garden City's giving you about 7 or 8 formations so far. They're in trips now to the top of the screen.
Schmidt gets hit, gets to Cascadin, and Cascadin motors right towards the first down marker, and he might have gotten it based on that. No, the late flag, another flag as well.
Might have a face mask there possibly with the way Cascade went down, but you saw a little flare thrown by Schmidt out there, right? Just get your athletes into space and let them run around, and now, you know, you got to get on blocks and off blocks. The Baldwin guys in that 4-2-5 defense that Coach Schmenti is employing, very similar to what he ran at Freeport when he was there and other places he's been. And, you know, trying to get people to the ball, run to the football and get Cascade on the ground. You know,
wow.
One man is not going to get him on the floor.
Block in the back, so 2 costly penalties here for GC. Certainly something that Ettinger and Fennell and those coaches at Garden City are not going to like. You have the holding penalty, then a block in the back, which brings up a 2nd and 12 from the 39-yard line. It is week 1 for everybody. It certainly
is. A lot of kinks to be worked out last night. We saw there were moments where tackling was at a premium, you know, because they haven't done that much live tackling.
Again, power I. Toss goes to Cascadin. Kicks it to the right. A little stiff arm. And a late flag. And, you know, I don't know about this. Kevin Wallace is going to get called for a late hit. I think he just held on. I think Cascadin sort of powered him out of bounds.
I heard someone on TV talk about this, you know, Dylan, about flags like that, about the targeting call in college football and the word intent, right?
Yeah.
What was your intent? And I think on the out of bounds, on the late hits, intent has got to be considered there a little bit, and not trying to question the officials there too much, but I didn't see the intent was so awful there. He's kind of caught on him maybe a little bit, and yeah, he certainly had him out of bounds a little bit, but there wasn't an intent. It's one thing to go out of bounds and hammer a guy and the intent is to I'm going to give him one more on the way out. That doesn't seem like they had a lot of intent there, but the penalties have gone back and forth, and now we got Garden City first in 10 of 19.
Yeah, so they move the chains now in Garden City. Again, Cascadin to Schmidt's right hip. He'll hand it off to Schmidt, kicks it left. We're going to have an offensive holding penalty, I think. So this touchdown run will be called back. The white hat was all over it, too, and you saw it as soon as Cascadin burst around. That's right where that hold was.
That was a nice jump cut there by foot in the ground and jump around it by Cascadin. Now, you see his ability. He got a very, when you get near him, when you get near Jack Cascadin, he's a large person. He's big. He's a big body, and he's very nimble and agile for a body that size.
His size, 6'3", 215. Ettinger says he's got all the tools. He could be an outside receiver, a tight end. He can block. He runs, has good vision. He mentioned, of course, Trevor Yeboah Cody. He says, look, he's a different running back, but he's special like a Trevor Yeboah Cody, who, of course, we saw a couple years back.
Sure, you want those multiple tool players in high school because people play both ways. They do all kinds of things, and those are the guys you win with.
So 1st and 20. Schmidt back to pass, looks for Cascadin, and look at that look as well. Cascadin into space inside the 10, pulled down inside the 5, and another late flag as well.
You had a great play call right there. You have a throwback play right there to the running back.
Yeah, watch Cascadin at the top of your screen.
He's going to fake the run to him, little play action. The receivers, it looks like he's going to the flat to the receiver, to tight end releasing, but instead he throws it back to Cascadin, and we got a face mask penalty being thrown in there, half a distance to the goal.
Yeah, so Garden City certainly set up well here. 1st and goal from the 1.
Yeah, they made that look like a little front side flood there, going to the quarterback rolling in that direction, and they have a throw back to Cascadin. Great play design.
Handoff Cascadin, and he lowers the shoulder, and he gets in the end zone. Touchdown, Garden City.
Bread and butter down by the goal line, run a little power, and used the lead blocker there. Kephart, young guy Kephart. We'll talk about him as the game goes on. He's a young guy, but he's a great-looking kid. He could be the next Jack Cascadin, I think, in the Garden City program. Tremendous athlete, great lacrosse player. Lead blocker there, gets it done.
And we'll show it to you again. Watch 24 motion out and be that lead blocker.
And then show a little shuffle mo. Brings it back. He's going to beat a kick and get that lineman up inside. That pulling guard there. That was nice work.
Fargione, the PAT, is good. So a bit of a sloppy first possession for the Trojans. A lot of penalties. Saw them both ways, but they take a 7-0 lead with 7:24 left in the first quarter on Jack Cascadin's 1-yard touchdown run.
Couple things, Dylan, you say when you come to Garden City, the same thing you're always going to see. You're always going to see a pretty good kicking game. Coach Ettinger is a kicker himself, very, very good one. And coaches the kickers here very, very well, the punters and kickers. Forgione had a great kickoff before when we started the game, put the ball in the end zone and put Baldwin on their 20. And here he kicks the extra point through, so that's good work.
Yeah, in our conversation, you see there's a good look at Cascadin. He's a guy, too, again, with his crazy athleticism. He can kick, he could punt. But Ettinger's like, look, he's going to do enough on both sides of the ball. I don't want him to have to do too much.
Sure.
So kind of he was looking, he was searching, trying to figure out who it was. And certainly kicker 1 right now seems to be Fargione. Good look on the PAT to give Garden City the early 7-0 lead a year ago. Trojans went 6-0, or I shouldn't say a year ago, right, in the spring season. 6-0, they defeated MacArthur 14-7 to win a 5th consecutive Nassau Conference 2 championship. Fargione, kickoff, and a good one as well. Listen, I think they found their kicker.
Sure did. That's 65 yards. That 65-yard kick in the air with a lot of height. That's 5 yards into the end zone. That's a pretty good kick.
That's the second one, too, that he's put through the end zone as well. So setting up Baldwin with a long field. There's a good look at Fargione there. He'll stay on as well. He'll impact things defensively in the secondary, a corner.
Garden City, to add to their wealth of other talented players they had, both their corners, Fargione and Cole Weber, are nice-sized athletes. It's going to be very difficult in the first series. Baldwin tried to throw a slant, and on the third down they threw an out. And they're going to be tough guys to complete passes on the corners of that height.
Kirshner had a shotgun. Looks for the handoff. Little stutter step, cutting inside. Nowhere to go, though, for Byron. He was trying to find that hole. It wasn't happening in that Garden City line. Gets himself back, it looks like, to the 20. They might do, they'll give him the extra yard to the 21.
Great up front, the Garden City defensive interior lineman. I think that was number 66. Did a great job of just stiffening his block and maintaining the line of scrimmage, and he couldn't go anywhere.
Second down. This time Kirshner goes in the air, and some miscommunication there as Chenette, the sophomore, who Chimenti says probably has the best hands on the team, a great worker, a fast kid as well, but just not on the same page there as Kirshner.
Yeah, definitely some confusion there. They were in a trips formation to the boundary here in a stack, and they had the single receiver. He tried to throw a slant. There was a little some confusion going on there.
So a 3rd and 9 from the 21-yard line for Baldwin and Coach Chimenti. Again, first game, first year. Trying to build back up this Baldwin program. Some lean years. Look out, Kirshner is leveled by who else? Brendan Staub.
What a great move by Staub. Coming off the ball, reading the snap count with a great club and rip move and getting around after the tackle. Wait till you see it.
Yeah,
what
watch
a great move.
Staub here on the end.
With a little club and drops that inside shoulder, and that's a very, you can tell he's worked at that move before.
He had some help there as too. Sawyer Olson, 78, was the first to look like to get the pressure on, but Staub with the sack, a loss of 5, so Baldwin's got a punt, and it's blocked! And that'll be a safety. Terrific block there by Durkash.
You know, Dylan, yep, they're going to get a safety, but Durkash on the previous Baldwin punt, he created a little bit of pressure. He came off the edge and was unblocked and just couldn't get there. But, you know, there he comes again, and he gets it this time.
Now, Durkash was close on the first one. This time, clean. We'll have another look at it. And there he comes, Durkash.
That's a great play by Durkash. Look, there was some confusion by the Baldwin guys. Certainly game one, right, as to who's to block, which player off the edge. Some people man block and punt. Some people zone it. I'm not sure what their scheme is there, but there was definitely a mistake. And they shouldn't have a guy free like that. And easy, nice play by Durkash with great effort, but it's there for him when nobody blocks you.
Chimenti said, look, you know, we expect to have some growing pains, right? And also, you know, you can pick, right, sort of who you scrimmage with and who you got to give him credit. He scrimmaged Plain Edge and Freeport in a 3-way scrimmage, knew that he'd take his lumps, but he wanted to see, and a big sort of word that he's using or terminology is handling adversity. He wants to see how his guys handle adversity. When you have a scrimmage against those two and then you open week 1 against Garden City, that is your adversity that you're looking for, and Chimenti has it there. And
you know, week 1, you know, you're playing the best team in the conference. Week 1, Coach Chimenti right there is he's going right away. He gave a schedule that comes out, and you got Garden City, the traditional powerhouse, the number 1 seed. So you're going to get this out of the way right away, and you're going to step in the fire, and then you're going to build from there if you're him. You know, you're going to go back and watch the film, you're going to make corrections, and I think you could probably safely tell the kids it might not be this hard again for a few weeks.
Yeah, Chimenti of Garden City says they're one of the best public schools in the state. They've got great coaches with Ettinger Fennell and all his staff, and kids play sound, smart football. which he says, look, that's what we want to do as well. That's what we're trying to get to. Here's the free kick. Takes a bounce, fielded at the 35-yard line. Good return out to midfield, and a little bit more. Good open field tackle. The ball is loose, but he was downed on contact. Good return there by Parisa.
That was a nice return. He got the ball with a little momentum, got across the field, got a couple good blocks. Just make sure when he goes down, the ball doesn't come out either way. Don't put that in the hands of the officials, right?
Jason Rivera, 58. Good-looking tackle.
Yeah, it looks like that ball might have been out. I mean, he had his hand on it as he was going down, and of course, we get the benefit of replay up here, our armchair officiating, as we always say. But that was I guess you could say a little bit of a break for the Trojans right there. But they have the ball in great field position again, and if you're the Baldwin guys, it'd be nice to make some plays here.
1st and 10 from the 40. Cascadin gets 5 and give him a couple more there on the extra effort, taken down by Eugene Brown, number 12.
Good push up front right there. Nothing like getting almost 8 yards on first down. Makes play calling pretty easy in that situation. Definitely in 4-down territory if you're Coach Ettinger, and now you're looking at what you're gonna work here for 3 downs to get 3 yards.
2nd and 3 for the Trojans. Schmidt lobs one. Oh, a terrific defensive play. That was 6 points for sure. And a great takeaway there by Cedric Jean-Pierre, number 34.
That was great coverage right there, but he had great coverage in the right spot. But defensively, what a great play.
Jean-Pierre, a junior, didn't play last year, a track runner. So he's got that speed, a great nose for the ball as well, a very physical defensive back, a good receiver as well, good hands. And we saw before also their punter. So 3rd and 3 now for the Trojans. Handoff Cascadin, 1st down, and a little bit more in toward the 25-yard line.
Yep, great play call on 2nd down by Coach Edger, taking a shot right now, knowing he's got 2 downs to get 3 yards, and he runs a little power play right there and gets a 1st down. Cascadin's always going to be, he's not going to end up on his back very much. He's going to go forward, and he's going to lean forward and get a couple yards on that alone.
Got to give credit as well to Sawyer for a block there. We saw this play on their first drive. Outside run, Vortuba fouls another block. Vortuba, touchdown, Garden City. 26-yard touchdown run.
Yep, we saw that play earlier. Come back again with the jet sweep. Good blocking around the edges, sealing it up and making guys miss along the way.
Look at the blocking. First you saw Cascadin. Here's another one right there. That's sealed it.
If you coach Chimenti, you had a man at the point of attack early on with a one-on-one shot of Vertuba, and he's a good back. But when you watch the film, you like the whole maybe a couple weeks from now you can make that tackle. Your guy can get him on the floor or slow him up or get onto him, and the next guy can get there and finish him off because you did have a player there. So it wasn't like your X and O's were really off. Maybe you just got to get the tackling down.
Extra point is up, and it is good. So Vortuba, a 26-yard touchdown run. The point after is good. And with 4:21 left in the first quarter, Garden City has a 16-0 lead. You're watching this Nassau Conference 2 showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Arjulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazzi, he gets it, Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it, touchdown, punch, counter punch. With a trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman, what a catch! This Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this in the other direction, make it, touchdown East.
So after a sluggish start which saw some flags on both sides. Still, Garden City scored a Cascadin 1-yard run. The Trojans have ripped off 9 straight points from a Durkash block punt for a safety. And then R.J. Vortuba, 26-yard touchdown run. The PAT was good, which gives us this score, 16-0 with 4:21 left in the first quarter.
I think, Dylan, when you look at high school football, week 1, early in the season, the passing games take a little bit longer to develop that chemistry. Running is what gets you going offensively, And last night we saw Seaford being able to run the ball and Colt Harbor struggling to run the ball. And here you see Garden City getting the running game going early, and Baldwin, their inability kind of to get that run going early and put him in those long yards passing downs have made him a difficult start for him so far. See if the Baldwin guys can get a little running going here in this, a little running game going in this possession.
Kevin Wallace scampered there for the return, the first return for Baldwin. The first 2 kickoffs went through the end zone, so this one will get out to the 25-yard line, and let's see what Baldwin has going. He said, look, I'm happy with the group that we have. Great bunch of kids. Loved how camp went. And as he said, tough time in the scrimmage with Freeport and Plain Edge, but they knew that was coming. He says, I like to scrimmage over our heads to kind of see how the kids deal with adversity. He thinks the strength they have is their depth on defensive line, their athletic group. He also likes the depth at running back as well. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Fake handoff, keeper, going nowhere. There is Staub again, reading that perfectly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Baldwin guys were reading that or there was just a call to play it like that, but penetration from Staub, penetration kills all plays. It's really tough when you get upfield penetration from the defensive line, and Staub's going to bring that. Returning first team All-Long Island player. Very, very good. Quick off the ball. Now you can see Cascade, who normally plays defensive end, has walked away, and now Garden City's in that odd man, that 3-man line, but they're bringing Cascade back. And
Cascade, it looked like jumped as well in the end.
I think we might have motion there on Baldwin, though. There's a lot of guys moving at once. Not the CFL here, high school football, unfortunately. But, Garden City, one of the strengths of their team defensively is having those athletes that are around between 180 and 200 pounds that are multiple guys, right? They can play linebacker, they can play D-end, they can play walk-away safety a little bit, or down safety, you might want to call it. And now they're able to play multiple fronts. We have a D-tackle that's maybe 205. He can play D-end. And now all of a sudden you're in an even, you're in an odd, you're in all different looks. And you can see Cascade down here at the bottom of the screen. He's going to walk his way back in and come off the edge. But that ability to be multiple, that'll put fits into an offensive coordinator and offensive line coach for sure.
2nd and 19 from the 16-yard line. Handoff, ball's loose, and it's going to be Garden City football. Popped right out and received just into the hands of Will Peters, number 42.
Yeah, not a good turn of events for the Baldwin guys off that handoff there. I don't think he ever really had it. Nope, never really had it in his stomach there. Never really had the arm over, the arm in the right position there correctly on it. Just kind of popped out, and there was Will Peters to fall on it, So, getting half to the football, turnovers, good stuff there for the Trojans.
Yeah, so terrific field position here for Garden City. They take over already in the red zone at the 16-yard line with 2:44 left in the first quarter, already with a 16-0 lead.
Yeah, Baldwin needs ball, and the Baldwin guys gotta get something to happen here from them. They need to make a play. Everyone's got to do their job, and maybe they can get a play back like just happened there, a fumble, turnover of some kind.
Schmidt hands off. Cascadin breaks the tackle, gets pulled, and finally about 4 Bruins have to jump on him to get him down at the 8-yard line.
Up Cascade, and the Baldwin guys kind of set the edge on that run, and he cuts it back, winds that ball all the way back to the other side in his typical fashion. At the end of the play, there's 3 guys pulling down Jack Cascade. Right? It's not a pleasant experience seeing him get in the secondary. High school secondary player is probably 160, 155, 160, 165, and you have all of 215-pound Jack Cascade run at you. It's not a pleasant thought.
2nd and 1 from the 8. Schmidt into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended target is Parisa.
Good coverage there again. Baldwin guys are on top of that coverage right there.
You got to say that's a positive, I think, early on, is the coverage defensively. We saw that terrific play earlier by Cedric Jean-Pierre to save a touchdown, and great coverage there as well. You see number 10, Sean Platt.
Traditionally, Dylan, Baldwin's program built on defense. You know, they've always played a 52 under Coach Carroll, and they were always very tough defensively and had great athletes. And, you know, that may be what they're going to build themselves on here as the offense slowly takes form.
3rd down, flip goes to Cascade and pumps the brakes, cuts back inside, and again, a bunch of Bruins in there, led by 34, Cedric Jean-Pierre.
Good job by the Baldwin guys. The problem for them was that there was a short yardage play, and Cascade jumped around him and knew what he needed to get and got a little more than enough. And that's 1st and goal from the 5. But you can see the Baldwin guys still playing, rallying to the football, trying to make a play. I like that. Good stuff.
So 1st and goal. 90 seconds left in this first quarter. There's that motion again. Vortuba. It's Schmidt, the keeper, and he doesn't get anywhere. Good job by the interior defense of Baldwin.
Those fly sweep, jet sweep plays are all timing plays, Dylan. Getting that guy across the formation, the receiver in motion, getting him across the formation at the time the snap comes to get the ball handed off. And early in the season, you know, sometimes those plays, the flow of the plays and day. And I think he wanted to give that ball, but he got the ball a little late. It wasn't all meshed up correctly, so he kept it. And the Baldwin guys are there for the stop.
Timeout for Garden City. We mentioned their season a year ago, 6-0. That puts them, by the way, remarkably at 40-2 in this championship run that they've had. 5-time defending Nassau Conference 2 champions. What I love, among other things, right, about this program is when you look up and down the roster, and you know it well as the Farmingdale lacrosse coach, you say there are a bunch of lacrosse guys, right, playing football, but the tradition here at Garden City, these guys are football players from the time they go to camp until usually, right, Thanksgiving weekend when they play in the Long Island Championship. And that's something that really Edinger said is the big reason for that consistency. He says also, look, we haven't had a lot of turnover on our coaching staff, right? He goes, so we've all either played, coached with, or been around Coach Flatley and the way that he ran it. So he said, look, when we took over, other than him not being the head coach, there was not much change. And he said, look, I'm not a stupid person to change success, and that's what they've had here. The blueprint was there by the late, great Tom Flatley, and Edinger and his staff just sort of followed suit.
I think traditionally the Garden City kids, when they're young, play football in town and youth football, and they just continue playing when they get older. There aren't too many towns on Long Island that play good football. Nice pass.
Schmidt. Touchdown, Garden City. You had a couple of guys there looking for the ball, but it was Vortuba to get the touchdown reception.
Well, it was a perfect ball for one guy, maybe not the best ball for the other, but they're in the same area. Take a look at the play right here. They have a little play action. It was kind of like a 3-level flood, but because you're in a short area of the field there, you know, the field's compressed. The low man in the middle, the two lower levels are near each other. You know, last quarterback Schmidt, who he's throwing it to?
I was going to say, so when he gets to the sideline and he gets to Coach Edinger, is he saying, no, I meant to get to Vortuba. I went over Kephart to get to Vortuba. That was on purpose. Oh, this PAT is blocked.
Great effort off the edge with number 34 there. Cedric Jean-Pierre again coming off the edge and didn't even have to really lay out for it, just kind of ran through it. Shows you how quick he is.
Now, he's been a positive. Jean-Pierre, 34, the junior, 5'10", 160. Mentioned as well, we haven't seen what he's been able to do offensively, but he's a guy, again, great speed, great hands as well, and kick, punt, does a little bit of everything for Baldwin. And this is a very, very young team. you look up and down the roster, a lot of sophomores, juniors, and even the seniors, they don't have a ton of experience as well. And that's one of sort of the things that they talk about in terms of sort of building the culture, right? And the one sort of consistent theme that Chimenti had when he talked about building the program, he says, I'm obsessed with technique and fundamentals, all the little things. Alignment on defense, ball control on offense, turnovers, penalties. He said all those things that win football games are paramount to our program. Discipline and accountability in all aspects, on time, early, for practice, film sessions, the whole from soup to nuts. And that's one of the things that Chimenti is looking to implement here with Baldwin.
Coach Chimenti was at Valley Stream Central. I was coaching at Farmingdale at the time, and he did a tremendous job there at Valley Stream Central. They were a playoff team a couple times when he was there, and you could just see the level he took the program to in terms of things you're talking about, accountability, discipline, all those things. They were certainly and now you can see, I think Valley Stream is one of the top 5 seeds in Conference 2 this year, and they've kind of continued that. That's kind of kept going a little bit with their program, and he's trying to just reestablish it here. Baldwin had a couple tough years, and they're trying to get that back. And football's a tough sport, Dylan. It's a lot of work. You play one day a week. If you're not winning, it's not a lot of fun. And it's easy for kids to say, if you're not winning, I don't want to do that anymore, and they can give it up and move away from it. And the teams that win have big rosters. So he's trying to get that back to being winning and getting a bigger roster and getting more kids excited to play. And winning a few games will certainly help that. They might not be going their way right now. It's a tough start with the Garden City guys, but they're certainly going to get better as it goes along. Have quite a few athletes here.
1:03 left first quarter. Baldwin a 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Kirshner takes it himself. Looks to throw. That one is incomplete. In and out of the intended receiver's hands.
That's the famous, people are talking about RPOs, read pass option plays. That is definitely a read pass option play there. The quarterback is reading one defender to see if he's going to give the ball to the running back. He sees the one defender play the run. He pulls it and throws it to the receiver. It was incomplete. But you can see that we're talking about run pass option plays, right? Very difficult to defend because you basically only the quarterback is looking at one player to make his read.
Platt was the intended receiver. This time a man in motion. He'll get the ball. A little bit of end around. Good coverage there, or good pursuit of the football. The runner was Kevin Wallace, 21. And the good pursuit there, it looked to be Peters, 42, as part of that group. We've got a timeout.
Yep, that's another one of those jet sweep plays, trying to get the edge. Problem is, when you run jet sweeps to a wide side of the field, the blocking takes a long time to develop. You got to hold that block for quite a while for your receiver. It's not easy. And you can see over there, they came off the block there. Cole Weber came off the block and kind of set the edge. Peters scraped over and made the play, and not much of a gain there for Baldwin.
You mentioned Weber, and he's a guy. He's starting at corner, number 19 for Garden City, and we expect to see him see some time, maybe some significant time at quarterback as well. That's a nice option to have as a kind of QB2. You don't really kind of call him a backup to Schmidt, and he's a guy, Weber, who you look up and down this conference, and no disrespect, I think, to anybody else, but I think Weber makes a push and maybe is the starting quarterback for just about every other team in this conference. He's that good. His only thing is he's behind a 3-year starter in Luke Schmidt.
Yeah, Cole Weber, excellent athlete, great lacrosse player, defenseman. I think Garden City, if you want to be a defenseman at Garden City, you have to be at least 6'2". But he's a very, very good athlete, Cole Weber. And, to him to be quarterback two should be ready to go in high school football. You never know about injuries or things like that. But he's quarterback 2 here. He could be quarterback 1 in a whole lot of schools. Maybe more than just the conference here, but in Nassau County, he'd be quarterback 1. Not Oceanside, but he'd be quarterback 1, and he'd be quarterback 1 in a lot of places.
3rd and 7 for Baldwin. Under a minute left in this first quarter, dominated by the Trojans. They motion Platt out. The intended target And that's a completion there for Dan Taylor, number 8.
Good looking play there, Dylan. You know, the Garden City guys using their timeouts. I think the fourth ball with the punt. There is wind here today. The ball was kind of playing into the breeze, getting the punt against the wind as we have a player down. But that was a good looking play right there. You had a little tunnel screen. And, if the Baldwin guys could get that going on earlier down with a little less yardage to make, good start.
Taylor, here you see the play again, number 8. Makes the catch. 5'10 senior. He's a guy who was on the roster a year ago, played sparingly. He's got solid hands, runs great routes. Shimenti says a great kid and very dedicated as well. As there's a timeout here, 35.7 seconds left. And Baldwin will, as you mentioned, you kind of see the flags across the way, right? They're blowing in Baldwin's face, so perhaps you call a timeout if you're Garden City. You're forced to punt into the wind, and an inexperienced team that Baldwin has, as Jean-Pierre backs up to get the punt. And again, last punt was blocked, and it ended up being a safety. Durkash had that block, and he's been close as well. He was close the first time and got it the second time. Here comes Staub, 77. Jean-Pierre gets it off, takes a nice bounce, fielded at the 44-yard line by Vartuba, and he gets about a 10-yard return before he's knocked out of bounds by Shane Molden, one of Baldwin's leading rushers, or they expect to be one of their leading rushers, as well as a linebacker as well for the Bruins.
So some good strategy there by the Trojans. They use their timeouts. They're up 22-0. You figure, timeouts might not be why save them, right? So they use them right here. They force Baldwin to kick a ball into the wind. And once again, they're starting on Baldwin's half of the field in great field position. Not much time to go in this first quarter, 28 seconds, but you have the win for 28 more.
Schmidt leads his guys back out there. Again, we do mention we expect to see Weber at some point. Andrew says he wants to get him a few series, and it's not just in sort of mop-up time, right? He wants to get him really good early experience. Cascadin motions out to the right, a little flip here to this near side, and right back to the line of scrimmage. Jackson Parisa makes the catch.
Good defense right there. That 34 again. That our man Cedric Jean-Pierre again making the play. They had a little two-way screen going there. They faked the screen to Cascadin and threw it back into the boundary on that little now screen. And the tackle's supposed to get out to make the block, but a great play by, I think it was Cedric Jean-Pierre, to avoid the tackle, off the tackle, and make the play.
So that does it for the first quarter. A first quarter dominated by those guys at Garden City. The Trojans with a 22-0 lead. You're watching this Nassau Conference 2 showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is the time to promote your business on our broadcasts.
Now Farmingdale will fire and find the back of the net.
Top of the key, 4-3, good.
With viewership in the thousands, your company will get the local attention it needs. Best of all, we offer affordable rates. High school sports online audiences are growing. Take advantage by advertising with Varsity Media.
Hands off, three-point shot is up and in. You back him back 3 yards, it doesn't matter. Touchdown, Freeport.
Contact us today, 516-403-2050, varsitymedia.net.
We welcome you back out to Garden City. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford here as we are set to start the second quarter. Garden City on offense, and they've been on offense a lot so far. A 22-0 lead. Week 1 of the season. Schmidt, keeper, gets about 5 to the 40.
Dylan, you can see the evolution of the, Garden City uses a variety of different formations and plays, but you can see the evolution of the spread offense now, right? As defense have gotten a little smaller to handle the passing game of the spread teams, now all of a sudden tight ends are back in vogue. So now the Garden City guys are going double tight there with receivers and one back, but so they're trying to use the fact that people are designing defenses for pass defense against them with those heavy running formations.
When they do go double tight, it's Peters and Paskowitz, generally speaking. 3rd and 6 from the 41, and some movement up front. Looks like that's against Baldwin. Jake Davidson, the end, 54, the sophomore. It appears like he jumped.
They're in the classic pro I formation right there. And unfortunately for Baldwin, another little error, right? Little mistakes, learning, growing pains, jumping off sides, giving the Garden City guys a 3rd and 1 from the 36. So Coach Ettin just maybe, probably looking at 2 plays here, right? If he needs it.
Shimenti said Davidson really should be a defensive tackle, but he says his technique makes him a natural defensive lineman, 5'10", 250, so good look there. And he's a sophomore, which you like even more if you're Shimenti. 3rd and 1. Handoff to Cascadin. Bursts into the secondary. He is downed at the 21-yard line.
Good looking play. A lot of push on that left side of the line by Garden City over there. Staub at the left tackle spot, right? A lot of push.
And then Cascadin does the rest, getting outside. He's having himself a day already. Ettinger said he's up there with the best that I've coached. He's got size, speed, strength. He's got it all. 1st and 10, Schmidt to his right under pressure, and he just loses the ball. Looks like maybe ended up being an incomplete pass. Good pressure there. It looked like by Kadeem Ramsey, 25. The Rover at linebacker, 6'4", 200 pounds. Probably the best athlete on that Baldwin team. Ran a 4.8 at Stony Brook Camp, so he could run, jump. He's a basketball player. Special kid is what Shimenti calls him. He's a guy who does want to play college football. It's only kind of, figuring out sort of where he can do that.
6'4", 200 is a good place to start, though.
Yeah.
And if you can run, there'll be a place for you. Hopefully doing his homework and taking the right classes and all it'll work out for him.
Very physical guy as well. Man in motion and a false start, it appears, on the Trojans.
Yeah, vis-a-vis early season kind of situations, Dylan, where everything looks good in practice. Concentration level doesn't have to be so perfect because the pressure of playing against a stranger isn't there, and maybe in a scrimmage you're not running your full complement of plays. And now over the past week you got the playbook opened up a little bit more, and now you have these little timing mistakes that no doubt the Garden City staff will iron out very quickly over the next few weeks.
Well, one thing, too, that Ettinger said, they go to camp every year. It's a tradition for them. They go up to Connecticut. He said it was remarkable. When he sat with his staff, the 3 guys, the 3 leaders we talked about with Schmidt, Cascadin, and Staub, they were the only guys who have ever gone to camp. When you think about it, right, because you don't do it in the spring when you have the whole COVID-shortened, weird spring season, so you don't have that camp leading into it. And those guys a couple years ago were young. They were JV, younger levels. So he said that was the recognition or the realization that we've got a young group here.
Sure.
As now Baldwin calls a timeout.
Garden City traditionally a camp program. Nowadays, not many teams still go to camp. Down to, I think, a small number tend to leave, go away and do those things. But something that Garden City's always kind of leaned on. The beauty of camp is you get to practice a couple times in a day. Usually one's in pads, one's not, one's a walkthrough. You have meetings, you have film, you have great team bonding, things like that. And they get a lot accomplished at camp when, maybe in the summertime they might be running and lifting some, but maybe kids are away a lot or playing lacrosse.
Well, sure. I mean, again, you've got
things.
lacrosse, so you've got
Sure.
your showcases and a lot of different activities sort of pulling your guys in one direction or the other. At camp, you are there for football, clearly, and really a good chance there to get a lot of teaching done. You mentioned the team bonding maybe is as equally important for Garden City. And you come back, they played a controlled scrimmage against Oceanside. Talk about high-end scrimmages there, right? The 2 of the top teams in Nassau 1 and 2, Oceanside and Garden City, and different looks as well, with Oceanside being a spread with McKee leading the way and Rob Blount and that high-octane offense of the Sailors. And I think everybody kind of came away with that scrimmage pretty happy with what they saw.
Sure, go against good guys. You find that about yourself very, very quickly. Now they got a bunch formation here. Now they're shifting over.
Schmidt again, lobs wide open, touchdown.
Nice.
Garden City. Paresa, a
Nice.
16-yard touchdown reception.
Nice play design right there, Dylan. They motioned some players to the left. They were in kind of like a modified bunch type of formation. They made it look like they were going to throw the flare to Cascadden. You can see here on the replay. They motioned the bunch players over. Cascadden looks like he's catching the flare. Everyone's looking at Cascadden, and no one's got the edge receiver who's wide open for the touchdown. Great play design. A great week one play as well, where maybe you haven't repped that in practice or seen that. I guarantee Garden City next week, they have New Hyde Park next week. New Hyde Park guys will practice that play a little bit, but knowing Coach Ettinger, he'll have something else that comes off of that.
PAT is up, and it is good. So Schmidt to Paresa, a 16-yard touchdown pass, and the PAT is good. 10-12 left here in the second quarter. We'll take a quick break. You're watching the Varsity Media Game of the Week here in Nassau, Conference 2.
Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
McCarthy. He's got. Oh, he's in. Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside!
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage, and one of many threes on the day.
Interviews, and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050.
We welcome you back to Garden City. The Trojans with a 29-0 lead after Schmidt found Paresa for a 16-yard touchdown pass. That is another touchback. So Baldwin will get started on their own 20-yard line. Schmidt's got 2 touchdown passes. He's found Vortuba as well for a 5-yard TD. Cascadden, a 1-yard TD run. Vortuba, a 26-yard touchdown run. And Durkash with the blocked punt for safety. That's your scoring right now. Baldwin looking to go back on attack. We see Kirshner in at QB, but the QB of the future is number 9, Angel Johnson, 6'3", 170, freshman. Chimenti says he's the real deal that he thinks. Really athletic kid, quarterback, wide receiver, D-back. Doesn't quite have that arm strength yet. But once he gets that, he's going to be the guy because he can give you that dual threat. Kirshner, primarily that throwing quarterback. Hands off. There's Byron. Good protection of the football, and he gets out to about the 27-yard line.
Good first down play by Baldwin. Probably one of the first really good first down plays they've had. Puts himself in a great situation on 2nd and 3.
Yeah, Byron is a guy, again, junior, two-way starter, a captain. In that scrimmage, again, it was Freeport and Plain Edge as the other two teams. Chimenti says he thinks that Byron stood out the most. Had a great day there. Also a wrestler. We'll get to that in a moment. Pressure comes, tipped there by Staub. Incomplete. Chenette was the intended target. That's another thing that Chimenti says he wants to get going a little more and get some more continuity. He says he's had so far a great relationship with the wrestling program, the basketball program, and look, you want the toughness and you want the athleticism at Baldwin. That's where that comes from, those two programs. So a lot of these guys are sort of the wrestler basketball guys as well.
Sure, trying to get multi-sport guys. A lot of multi-sport guys here at Garden City, obviously. And you see Staub coming off the edge again.
Yeah, they'll go the other way. And again, it is
Very
Byron. Close. Will they give him? It looks like they will,
yep.
Right? Out to the 30-yard line. So the extra effort there by Byron gets Baldwin their first down of the day.
You can see the Garden City guys playing some games with Staub and then with Cascading before, walking Staub off the line of scrimmage, walking him away in a walkway, then bringing him back in. 3-man, 4-man line, bringing him off the edge, that type of thing.
1st and 10 from the 30. Kirshner looks to the sideline, gets his play. He goes back to Byron, nowhere to go. Big number 78, Sawyer Olson, got his mitts on him, and Olson, a returning starter, 6'2", 200, junior. Did a great job as a sophomore. Kind of like Staub in his athleticism, certainly. And look, he's a guy who played every game in the spring and just got better each week. And he's a guy, he was an not inconsistent, I should say, but inexperienced the year ago. So, like, you go up against, like, MacArthur and those big dudes. He was taking some hits, but he kept getting up. He kept wanting to get back out there.
The beauty of the spring is it wasn't really that long ago.
Yeah.
And, so you play the spring season, and now you kind of get right back into it a few months later. And as a returning, just that experience is such a big factor. All that experience of having been in the game. It all happens on the offensive and defensive line. I mean, that's going to win the game for you most of the time. The team that wins the line of scrimmage is going to have control of the game. We saw it last night with Seaford and Cold Spring Harbor. We see it right here. Garden City's essentially playing 5 men in the box, defending Baldwin's run, and their 5 men are able to, to play maybe even half a man short maybe, and defend the run. And now they have all these other guys playing the pass, so Baldwin's calling some running plays, and they can't get all the Garden City guys blocked because they're getting off the ball so hard.
Delay of game called, so 2nd and 18 from the 27. Another run play, and again goes to Byron. Doesn't get much. Maybe out to the 24-yard line. Looks like Olson again, 78 in there. A whole host of those dudes up front as well. So you mentioned that kind of continuity from the spring season. Well, Chimenti didn't have that with these guys. He took the program over in mid-April, but once you get the parent meetings and all the other meetings and stuff like that, he said we really kind of didn't get started till May 24th.
Sure, he's a great hire for Baldwin, a great hire, bringing him in, a very experienced football coach in the county, in Nassau County, and has college football coaching experience, and is a really, really good teacher and a great role model for kids. And I think he's a perfect hire, but he didn't have that time like you would have in some programs to work with kids.
Platt motioned out, and the pass went to Chanette, number 7. And he's pulled down at the 29-yard line.
And not much there. I mean, some of their perimeter screen type plays look like they have potential. The Garden City guys are just they're very well coached. The fundamentals are sound. They get off blocks. They get hands on, eyes off, and they get off blocks quick and they get to the football.
So Jean-Pierre back to punt, 4th and 11. The 29 gets it up. A good-looking punt as well. Backed up to the 29 is where the return comes from. That's Cole Weber, 19, getting just past midfield.
Nice catch of the punt and return by Cole Weber. It's a nice play. Great. And once again, the Garden City guys are starting in Baldwin's half of the field. That was a nice punt. But you can see some of the Baldwin inexperience even covering that punt, coming down and, maybe running past the runner a little bit, not breaking down, not getting hands on. These are things that Coach Chimenti, being fundamentally sound, he'll get all those things taught. He'll get there's only so much you can teach in a few weeks before the first game, Dylan, and so many practice time you have. And he'll get all these things taught because film is a tremendous teacher. Kids can say, I didn't do. The film never lies,
Yeah.
So they'll get in the room and watch it, and they'll make corrections. And this would be really good for the Baldwin guys going forward, heading down the next 7 games.
Garden City, 1st and 10 from the Baldwin 49, midway through this second quarter. Schmidt in shotgun with Cascadin on his hip, and some movement up front for Baldwin. It looked like he was the edge, 51. for Baldwin. Jumped.
Rodney Mills.
Yep.
Got to hang in there, Rodney. Come on. See the ball, right?
Talk about a good-looking sophomore, right? 6'1", 240. So he's got great size,
they have some
good
big,
mobility.
They certainly have some big people, Baldwin. You know, I mean, it's just a question of getting them experienced, getting them game experience, and understanding what's required to get it done. And obviously seeing the ball getting moved and not jumping off sides is one of those things. But they have some good-looking people.
So does Garden City. Look at Cascadin. Made 2 guys miss. And look at Schmidt looking to try to be the lead blocker. Cascadin to the outside. Cascadin! Touchdown! 44 yards to the house.
I'll tell you right there, there's some highlight plays right there. There's some sports in the top 10 plays, type plays there. To the Baldwin guys' credit, at the point of attack, they had it kind of jammed up. You know, they did a good job flowing to the football. They have an unblocked player off the edge, and Cascadin just jumps around it and jumps the other way.
Did you see that pancake block by Schmidt?
There comes Schmidt. Now, as a former defensive coach of football, that should be illegal. The quarterback getting out there and blocking. There's only things you can't do to the quarterback, but he can go block.
I love it. I love it.
Come on, man.
I love it.
Great play by Schmidt, though.
Hey, listen, how many times do you see that quarterback just run out to the sideline, right? He wants nothing to do with the physicality. Schmidt brought it on that play.
I can remember many years ago coaching. We played in the Long Island Championship game, and Brentwood Indians in the Long Island Championship game had a toss, and the quarterback led the toss. He would toss it and get out there and lead the toss and be the extra blocker, you know, and take special people to do those things, you know. Certain quarterbacks want to do that, and certain quarterbacks don't. And you can see Schmidt is one of those guys.
I love it. Not only was he leading the way, but then the pancake block as well. You know, you talk about film not lying. That's one that he's going to look forward to, right? Whether it's tomorrow, Monday, after practice.
Oh, yeah.
Coach, can we roll that again?
Sure. I think you'll watch it a few hundred times before it gets to the team session. But
let's watch it again as well. You'll see 14 here again. Watch. You see him at the top of your screen. Look at this. Boom!
Well, you know, he did a good job. What puts him there is he's executing that fake off the handoff, right? So he's handing it off, and he runs away. You know, how many quarterbacks fundamentally don't execute fakes? Oh, it's a running play. I'll just hand up and stand there. But he executes his fake, and there he is to put the block on. So once again, fundamentals always count.
I think your combination there makes that like a top 10 play. Maybe the Varsity Media Sports Network top 10 this week, because not only is it a great run by Cascadin, because again, it starts with him coming towards us, right, left side, pumping the brakes on 2 guys, juking to the outside, and Schmidt laying the hammer there for the 44-yard touchdown for Jack Cascadin, his second score of the game. Punched one in from 1 yard out in the first quarter to open the scoring.
Very impressive. You know, you kind of driving your car over, you kind of know what you're going to get with Jack Cascadin, right? That's kind of what he's delivering. It's kind of what I expected. Haven't seen him play before, and haven't coached against him in lacrosse as well.
Returned from the 10. That was Mark Just. And a flag is down as well. You know, again, we talk about Ettinger is talking about his guys coming in, right? And the three-headed monster of Schmidt, Cascadin, and Staub, as there's a block in the back on Baldwin. So those are your leaders, right? You've got to say, in the first 2 quarters, they've all showed up in a big way for Garden City. And then you're not sure necessarily maybe, you know, who's going to step up. And you've got performances from a lot of different guys. Vortuba has come up big, and Durkash with the block as well, and Paresa too. So a lot of different guys have stepped up for Garden City, and the result, of course, is this 36-0 lead with 5:52 left in the second quarter.
Well, you look at those 3 guys, right? The 3 leaders. You have a lineman, you have a back, you have a quarterback. You have all different kinds of guys. On the previous kickoff, by the way, great kickoff coverage there by number 88, Lou Paskowitz. And now Baldwin had a penalty, had a holding call, I believe. And now they're starting, once again, not in great field position.
It's again Byron chugging ahead. He'll get maybe a yard or so. Garden City not the easiest team to run against, that is for sure.
That defensive line, you know, and if you watch them carefully, I know coaches in the conference are going to watch it very carefully when they break the film down. I'm watching it from the press box and looking at the replays. they do they line up in a lot of different places, a lot of different shades and a lot of different angles and some stunting, 3-man line, 4-man line, shades, gaps, all different things. They make it difficult because they're playing with some really good athletes on that defensive line. They kind of get after it.
They'll give him a 3-yard gain on that first down, so 2nd and 7, and some more flags as well. A false start on the offense, so Baldwin will continue to back themselves up.
Yep, last couple of series been a little tough for the Baldwin guys. I think they need halftime to come and get in that locker room or get to the side of the field and kind of take a deep breath and get a fresh start, because it's real right now. Garden City guys are coming and they're bringing it. Home game, week 1, 9-11. A lot of things going on. The Garden City guys, they're feeling it right now.
And I got to say, too, when you take a look around this facility, and it was one of the thoughts I had coming here. You talk about driving out here, and get to that thought in a second. Platt pulled down. A terrific tackle.
Cascade.
Was it? Yeah, 21.
You run away from him. He's going to chase you down. You run at him. He's going to make the play at the point of attack. So it's a tough situation, right?
What I was going to say was, not to get too deep here, Mike, but obviously 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and one of the things about those attacks was, about the response, right, by America and getting back. And this is high school football, great community, big crowd. I mean, this is America, right? This is sort of the victory, I would say, against terrorist attacks.
It is, and right here we're also in, we have this COVID situation, and we're trying to get beyond that. And as I've said a lot of times, there's a lot of different opinions of people on things in our country right now about government, viruses, diseases, all these things. But if we all could just think back to how we all felt after that, how united we were as Americans. I know I'm getting a little deep myself right now, but how we all felt as Americans, and we need to get back to that, and look at today. Here you are, beautiful day, 9/11, high school football, not much better as far as I'm concerned.
For sure, and we saw similar scenes last night in our first game of the year. Seaford and Cold Spring Harbor, Jean-Pierre punting from his own end zone. Good-looking punt as well, and it's a fair catch out at the 42-yard line. So when Chimenti kind of wonders what he's got in his team, he's got a pretty good player in Jean-Pierre, 34. We've seen him impact the game. You talk about film not lying. He's going to pop up on that film a bunch of times, and as a punter, certainly there as well. And again, going back to Chimenti's theme of adversity, right? He had a punt blocked for a safety, and look how he's responded. A couple big punts here as well to back up Garden City.
Sure, he's Swiss Army knife guy, can do a little of everything, and those are the kinds of guys you want in high school football. Guys can fill multiple roles, and he'll be somebody to lean on to and build off of the next few weeks, hopefully in the second half.
So 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line, and that similar play that we saw on the last drive. Flip goes near side. That's Weber, I believe, was it? No, 15, excuse me.
Considine, sophomore.
Yeah, Considine's a guy, too. 15, sophomore. Had a great spring season for the JV. Really good athlete, and we just saw there, he's the guy that Ettinger says will probably right now spell Cascade. And Stevie Fennell would have been that guy, still dealing with a bit of a foot injury, so he's sidelined. But Considine will pick up those extra runs now.
Sure, no reason right now at 36-0, 3 minutes ago in the first half to give Cascade, let him get extra hits on his body right now. It's going to be a long season. If you're Garden City, you'd like to think you're going to play maybe 12 football games,
For sure.
So save a few hits and let the 10th grade guy get some reps. And talking about Stevie Fennell, coach of son of the assistant coach here, Steve Fennell, and the head of lacrosse coach in the spring. Stevie, a very, very highly regarded lacrosse prospect in the class of 2023, and it's amazing they can be this good and not have that guy playing. It's the depth of their skill position players. Garden City is very impressive. You're able to have all these guys, and you haven't mentioned Fennell right now because he's out of the lineup.
Fortuma motions right. Pass goes that way. It is to him. Fortuma is pulled down at about just shy of the 15-yard line.
Good old 3-level flood right there. You got the low player in Vitruba. You have a deeper out, and then you have a vertical down the sideline. Take a look at the quarterback looks. Takes the short guy, takes the short thing, right? Turn and run with it.
1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. It's Considine now to the left hip of Schmidt. He'll take the handoff. Good cut to the outside. Bounces off contact, pulled down at about the 10-yard line.
Good vision by Considine, find the bounce to get outside with it. But you see the difference between him as a 10th grader. They list him at 6 foot 190, but the difference between him as a sophomore and Jack Cascadden, right, is a 215-pound senior.
Yeah. 6'3", too.
Very fine run by Considine. Take nothing away, but the difference, 2 years from now, we'll come back and Considine will be making those runs like that when he's a senior, like Cascadden.
2nd and 5 from the 11. It's Vortuba. Cuts inside. Vortuba. Touchdown, Garden City. An 11-yard touchdown run. Vortuba's second of the day.
Well, cross zone action right there with a backside lock. Hand the ball to Vortuba and picks his way. Good looking play there for the Trojans.
Here's another look, Mike.
Yep, pulling Staub, pulling a couple linemen there.
I think Staub even just turning around and standing still is a good blocking option there.
Well, you can pull the left tackle to a right side play like that and bring him all the way around the corner. Pretty good athlete, and not 260 pounds, but a guy with body speed, who's coming around the corner, getting in the way. Very difficult to deal with.
The point after is good, and with 1:17 left in this first quarter, Garden City extends their lead to 43-0. You're watching this Nassau Conference 2 showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Sarjulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazzi, he gets it, Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it, touchdown, punch, counter punch. The trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman, what a catch! Just Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction, make it, touchdown East.
We welcome you back to Garden City. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford here. It is week 1 of the high school football season. Game number 2 for us, though. We were out at Cold Spring Harbor last night for Conference 4 matchup. Seaford with a 19-0 win. We've seen now 2 of the 14. It's a remarkable number, right? 14 new head coaches on Long Island. Mike Corcoran last night for Seaford.
2-0. 2-0, Mike Corcoran.
He is 2-0. And
good for him.
Frank Chimenti here for Baldwin. We'll have some more games, of course, throughout the course of the year next weekend. Good one. Friday night out at Oceanside. It's always a good one on a Friday night in Oceanside. There's the kickoff and takes a bounce. Nobody fielded it.
Oh, no.
And Garden City recovers.
He has some experience right there by the Baldwin guys. I think some of the guys didn't realize you had to field that ball. It's a live ball on a kickoff,
Evan Kadratis.
Tough situation.
Had the recovery. Here you see it again, and you're right.
Got Will Paisley kicking off now, number 55. Another kicker. Kind of skies that a little bit. Pooch Sky.
I mean, you give him a lot of credit, too, because you put it right where Baldwin wasn't, right? And there was not a quick enough reaction from the Bruins.
Tough, very tough tournament events for Coach Chimenti, and there's plenty of teaching that's going on there, right? And a live ball, and I think the Garden City guys are going to take a knee here and go to halftime.
So we were saying Oceanside, we'll see them against the Dalers next Friday night. Farmingdale, Oceanside, a 6 o'clock kick for that one, as Garden City will look to take a knee to close out this first half. And then Saturday afternoon, it should be another good one. We'll be out at Bethpage High School, where Wantagh and Bethpage renew a pretty good rivalry between those two schools.
Yep, Montauk's moved around a little bit, conferences, right? You know, in terms of being in Conference 2, Conference 3, and back in 3 right now with Bethpage. Bethpage kind of hanging in 3 for quite a while now, and should be a really good one there.
We see Baldwin as well, right? Another one of his teams kind of bouncing up and down a little bit. East Meadow, another one of them.
I don't think Baldwin's ever been in Conference 2.
Yeah.
I think they've been, as far as I can remember, dating back into the 90s, even into the 80s, Baldwin's a Conference 1 school. Changing enrollments around the county a little bit, you know. They're in Conference 2, and now maybe for only a year, but we'll see. And East Meadow was in 2, and now they're back in 1.
Terrific first half for Garden City. A 43-0 lead over Baldwin as they'll head to the locker room, and we'll take a break as well. Some terrific halftime festivities we'll have for you as well after, and you don't want to miss it, our top 10 plays from week 0 in Long Island high school football. You're watching this Nassau Conference 2 showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Some tremendous plays from week 0. We've got some good ones in week 1. We've got some good ones from this one as well. We'll show you some of those highlights, but first let's take a look and listen at the Garden City Band here performing at halftime.
Thank you to the Garden City Marching Band.
Great job by the Garden City Marching Band. We'll take a quick break and bring you some more of the halftime facilities here at Garden City High School.
Now is the time to promote your business on our broadcasts.
Now Farmingdale will fire and find the back of the net.
Top of the key, 4-3, good.
With viewership in the thousands, your company will get the local attention it needs. Best of all, we offer affordable rates. High school sports online audiences are growing. Take advantage by advertising with Varsity Media.
Hands off, three-point shot is up and in. You back them back 3 yards, it doesn't matter. Touchdown, Freeport.
Contact us today, 516-403-2050, varsitymedia.net. Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
McCarthy.
He's got. Oh, he's in.
Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside.
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage, and one of many threes on the day.
Interviews, and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050.
We'll head back down to the field again now for the Garden City cheerleaders here at halftime of this Nassau Conference 2 showdown. Great job by the cheerleaders at Garden City, and we'll stay here as well. I'll show you the kick line as well for Garden City here as part of the extended here halftime ceremonies at Garden City High School. We'll take a quick break. Halftime here at Garden City. Trojans with a 43-0 lead over Baldwin. We welcome you back to Garden City on this solemn 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attack. The flag here across the way at half staff, remembering all those who died on that day 20 years ago. Dylan Butler here with Mike Hungerford. It's halftime. We'll show you some halftime stats here, and it was all Garden City, as you could tell by the score on the bottom of your screen. Already 16-0 at this point when Schmidt goes back. Is he trying to get Vortuba? We'll not know until probably after the game, but he does find him for the 5-yard touchdown. That was with 58.1 seconds left in the first quarter. Before that, Jack Cascadden had a 1-yard touchdown run. Durkash had a block punt for a safety to make it 9-0. Vortuba had a 26-yard touchdown run, so that was Vortuba's second touchdown of the day. We head to the second quarter, and it was a little bit more of Luke Schmidt throwing a touchdown pass. It was his second touchdown pass. Again, 22-0 after the first quarter. Schmidt would throw one more touchdown pass. This was to Paresa. And here you see it, a 16-yard touchdown pass. There it is, a nice simple lob, an open Paresa, an easy score for Garden City. That made it 29-0 for the Trojans. Early second quarter, 10-12 left in the second quarter, and then probably the best highlight we're going to show you is right here for a couple of reasons. One, because Cascadden goes 44 yards, but also because Luke Schmidt just pancakes a dude as well as a lead blocker for the quarterback. You love to see that from the quarterback. 44-yard run for Cascadden. The scoring would end with Vortuba getting another touchdown, his third of the day, second rushing, an 11-yard touchdown run made it 43-0, and that is your score here at halftime. We'll take another quick break, and we'll have the second half when we return right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is the time to promote your business on our broadcasts.
Now Farmiga will fire and find the back of the net.
Top of the key, 4-3, good.
With viewership in the thousands, your company will get the local attention it needs. Best of all, we offer affordable rates. High school sports online audiences are growing. Take advantage by advertising with Varsity Media.
Hands off, three-point shot is up and in. You back them back 3 yards, it doesn't matter. Touchdown, Freeport.
Contact us today, 516-403-2050, varsitymedia.net.
We welcome back to Garden City High School. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford here. Second half about to start. Trojans well on their way to a Week 1 win. They do a lot of winning, Mike, around Garden City. 6-0 in that spring season, defeating MacArthur 14-7 in the championship game. They have won 40 of their last 42 games, which is just a ridiculous amount of success for this program. And they are a true program. There are good teams, right? Team year to year. But this is certainly a program where it just feeds itself each and every year.
Well, you look at Garden City, right? People say, oh, they win. They have all these talented guys. They have good coaches. Winning is hard. It's easy to lose. There's a million ways to lose a football game. You could snap a punt over the punter's head. You could fumble. You could throw an interception. There's a lot of things you could do wrong to lose. Winning is not as easy as people make it out to be. But these guys make it look easy.
They
do.
Certainly
make it look easy. And if you've been around playing and coaching or broadcasting or whatever long enough, you see that, you know, there's a lot of work put into being this consistent, you know. And I know the Garden City staff is incredibly proud of that consistency, you know. And driving over here today, you look and think what you're going to see, and the scoreboard aside and the score, you don't know what the score is going to be, but the way Garden City's playing, that's what I kind of thought I was going to see, and that's a pretty good testament to their program. That, like you said, is that what you think you're going to get is generally what you're going to get. Very rarely do you watch them play and be like, what? This is the Garden. They don't look. This is not Garden City. What's going on? I don't remember ever seeing that very, very, very often. You know?
Yeah, and look, this is a place that maybe not quite to the level of success that Garden City has been year after year, but Baldwin's been there. It's a proud tradition, a proud program that's building its way back up. Garden City's still at the very top, still among the elite in the state, really, but Baldwin's trying to get themselves up to that level with Frank Chimenti taking over in his first year. That one goes in and out of the hands of Just, so it'll be a touchback for Baldwin, and even just those little things, right? You would say the kickoffs, and we've seen at least, 2 kickoffs go through the end zone, and that one also ends up in a touchback. So high school football, as much as anything, is a game of field position, right? And Garden City's had very good field position throughout this game. Baldwin has not.
Sure, kicking game. Garden City usually has a pretty good kicking game, and you don't do a lot of live special teams and in practice leading up to the first game. And maybe the Baldwin guys don't have they don't see kicks like that in practice, and they don't field balls like that in practice. And everyone, people sit and watch a game and go, "Oh, why can't that guy catch it?" It's a little bit more complicated than that in terms of have you repped it before, and not with coaching, but in terms of seeing a ball like that come at you with that velocity and height and those kind of things. So all a great learning experience. Coach Chimenti, been around the game a long time. He's very good. He'll figure it out.
New QB looks like in for Baldwin, and Mark Just looks like 6. Handling the responsibility right now. Didn't have him on our depth chart at QB. Did have Angel Johnson, though. And there's the handoff. Nice little push there by the Baldwin guys up front out to the 21-yard line. We expected to see Angel Johnson in as QB2. He is number 4. Good size from Johnson at 6'3", 170, but it appears to be Juice. After the first half was Zach Kirshner's.
Looks like here, Dylan, the Garden City guys are playing the second defensive groups in the game. So a lot of the reserve players, getting a chance to getting a lot of game time here in the second half.
Good looking cut inside and an even better hit there, as you mentioned.
Evan Cotratis, number 40.
Yeah, we mentioned his name earlier.
We're talking about experience, right, Dylan? Besides the players you mentioned, the really good players, as you see Cotratis here, run the football down and getting to the ball after a nice game by Baldwin. I'm looking at the rosters right now. Excuse me if I'm off by a player here and there, but it looks like Baldwin has 12 seniors on their roster, and Garden City has 22. So there's just a tremendous amount of game experience. That 10-player difference is pretty significant in game experience.
And of those players, 8 or 9 for Baldwin, as there's a run cut inside by Quasi Bonsu. 8 or 9 of them on offense have never played one varsity snap. Bonsu, the junior, is in fact one of those guys. Never played a down of football in his life. Good story here. Bonsu was the backup soccer goalie. Came out, all of a sudden, he's one of the captains as well. And Chimenti says, just a special kid, really smart, understands what we're doing. Still kind of learning the basics of football, but his technique comes natural to him. Constantly asking questions, always wanting to learn a bit more. And a little extra motion. Bonsu was the second in motion, and that's where the flag comes. But Bonsu also a wrestler, and we talked about that before, right? That continuity between programs. James Murphy, the wrestling coach at Baldwin, already Chimenti said he's got a good relationship with him.
Sure, want those multi-sport guys in wrestling.
Darius Burton, of course, the basketball coach as well.
I think you want that relationship with other coaches, and you want kids to feel comfortable playing more than one sport. And in the era of specialization now, where people are working at sports year-round, and you still have to, you can't never get rid of the multi-sport athlete. And Garden City is a tremendous example. Most of the good programs on Long Island in high school football are multi-sport athlete teams. And Garden City, you look at in the Conference 2 is a prime example, right? So many of their guys are playing 2, if not 3 sports.
That play blows up as Wallace recovered the fumble. He's backed up to his own 19-yard line, a 2nd and 21.
Got to see here what Baldwin guy's 2nd and long here. You know, you got 2 plays to try to get a first down, get the ball moving a little bit. Keep it simple.
Rush goes to the outside. And a good tackle there as well. Looked like 54. Christian Ingracia in on the tackle.
Yeah, you know, that was pretty simple there. Snap it to the quarterback, try to run around the corner, right, and make a play. Okay, we have Baldwin play it down a little bit. Getting off under his own power, though, but not easily.
Yeah, that's Jeanette, number 7, the sophomore.
Third down and long here. A lot of personnel shifting in and out for the Bruins.
Yeah, a lot.
On the sideline down here, you can see that it looks like Luke Schmidt's day might be done. As you see, Cole Weber is getting his arm loosened up, so I think when Garden City gets the ball, you might see Weber at quarterback.
Oh, high snap. And that's not recovered. It is going to be a touchdown for Garden City. Brian Bacafola. Fumble recovery for the score, a 24-yard. Well, that'd be less, actually, right? Because he didn't recover it on the 24-yard line, but a touchdown nonetheless. Bacafola with the fumble recovery for the score.
Bacafola, Johnny on the spot right there, right? Comes up with the ball. Ball snapped over the quarterback's head. When it rains, it pours for the Bruins. Right there's Bacafola, and he gets the easy score.
Yeah, we'll give him a 13-yard fumble recovery and score.
Bacafola family's dad, a Farmingdale guy right there.
I knew. I was waiting for you to get a reference in on Farmingdale at some point.
Got it in right now. There you go. Small one today. Small one today. Now he runs back in. He's the wing on the extra point.
The PAT is up, and it is good. So it's been a good day as well for Fargione kicking the football. Another PAT for him, and he extends the Garden City lead to 50-0. 8 minutes left in this third quarter. We'll take a quick break. You're watching this Nassau Conference 2 showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Arjulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later. Going long. Wide open. Perazzi. He gets it. Perazzi. Foot raise. 10, 5. Make it. Touchdown. Punch. Power punch. The Frickery Rider gets it back. Goes over the top for Haberman. What a catch. Just Ross Simmons strips him. That's loose. And Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction. Make it. Touchdown. Touchdown East.
Back here at Garden City High School, the Trojans have extended their lead to 50-0. Bacafola, a 13-yard fumble recovery and score for the Trojans. All phases right now going right for Garden City. They're getting specials going well. Offense, defense.
All working for the Trojans today.
And Garcia with the kick. It's recovered at the 5, and not much going there as Baldwin will start this next drive at their own, it's like 13-yard line.
Tough field position to start from the Bruins. They've kind of been in that tough spot all day. Garden City, I think, they've been over the 50 almost every time based on, with punting and field positions and things of that nature. Week 1, Garden City football 1-0, continuing that. What's that number? 40 or you said 40 or 42?
Yeah, so they were 6-0 last year, or in the spring, which gets them to 40 wins out of their last 42 games. Do you know the 2 losses, by the way? Little trivia question. You can think about that as we.
Gotta give me a minute on that one.
I think one you'll get. One might be a tougher one. Here's the handoff on first down. Bounce to the outside, and again, great pursuit to the football, even by the second guys here. Malden, 24, had the run for Baldwin. He'll get out to about the 19.
Is one of those losses to carry?
No.
I think throw that one out there.
No. That's not a bad guess though, but no. MacArthur is one.
MacArthur, Bobby Fehrenbach, Coach MacArthur. We haven't talked about the conference too much, the conference too very much. Does a great job at MacArthur High School, Bobby Fehrenbach, and have a great program there. Very consistent, tough kids. Talk about multi-sport guys.
Yeah.
Football, wrestling guys.
Some baseball as well.
Lacrosse guys. They have a tough bunch of guys, and usually a physical group, and very well coached by very good coaching job year in year out by Coach Fehrenbach over at MacArthur.
So you got one of the 2 losses. That's the one I thought you would get.
I threw
easy.
Carey in there. I know they've battled Carey back and forth over the years. Carey's been a consistent Conference 2 team. A Long Island championship game, maybe, is it?
That could be it.
The question is, who is it? That better be the question.
Another short run there for Baldwin.
I'm struggling with the other one. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's not an easy one because I'll say this. Here's a clue. It's a team that another one of those where you don't think of them as a Class 2 team, right? Where they've had success at the Class 1 level in Suffolk County.
Lindenhurst?
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, Lindenhurst was a consistent Conference 1 team for many years. Now they've been kind of in Conference 2 for the last few years, and another good Suffolk County program year in and year out. Lindenhurst always seems to have some guy playing quarterback. He's like a baseball pitcher who's been slinging around. Of course, they also
Lombardo knows a thing or two about that, right? A former QB himself at Lindy, so.
They also had maybe one of the best players in recent memory in Long Island history, right? One of the best players.
I assume you're talking about Jeremy Ruckert.
I would figure you would come up with that name, yes.
Currently playing at the Ohio State University.
Sure. Possibly playing in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Now. Definitely could see that in his future.
Did you see his Instagram, like with the change now in college football, where he posts like, "Thanks so much to what was it? What's the actor's name? Wahlberg Ford has this massive truck." Gotta love it. Jeremy Ruckert, one of Long Island's finest, certainly currently in college football. Here's Weber now handing off. Run to the outside. That was Matt Mellig, number 26.
Another one of our jet sweep plays. We've seen a few times today. That one looked pretty good. Good ball snap on time. Good handoff. Now, of course, you got some valuable. I know it's backup time and the score is 50-0, but getting Cole Weber some reps, just getting in there in a game situation when you may need him down the line.
Second and 6. Another handoff. Good job defensively by Baldwin pushing Katratis backwards.
There's your penetration, right? Penetration kills all and blows everything up, and they get a loss there, and they got third and 9.
So we've got, as you mentioned, right, Ruckert at Ohio State. How about Jack Cohn as well for Notre Dame? What a week 1 win for him.
Tremendous
and it's remarkable,
debut.
too, right? Like, you think about Cohn's sort of move to high-level Division I football, right, where he was a lacrosse commit. I think it was even at the 8th grade at the time, to Notre Dame. Another run this time. Good job defensively 15 for Baldwin, in on the tackle. That's Bonsu. So a lacrosse commit as an 8th grader to Notre Dame. And then kind of has this thing. He wants to play college football, but, it's unsure who's looking at him. We're not sure. He works out with Phil Simms, gets better, goes to Wisconsin, doesn't redshirt his freshman year, does play a little bit then as a starter for his next 3 years, gets hurt, and look, this is the business of college football, right? All of a sudden, there's another QB over him. He goes into the transfer portal, had a good conversation with his dad, Mike, and he said he was in the transfer portal for about 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And the teams that all of a sudden that were there, everybody in the country wanted to have, there's still players in the transfer portal, right, waiting, but not a long wait at all, and remarkable how it ends up where the school that he commits to, as there's a delay game on Garden City, the school that he commits to out of lacrosse is now where he's going to play in football. And who's one of the first guys that he sees on campus, right? Lacrosse coach.
Sure.
He's like, welcome home. It's where you should have been to begin with.
Cone was I believe, was one of the last classes of kids that could commit at that age before the rule changed. And, committed as was an attackman. I saw him play. He could shoot it. Man, could he shoot it as a young guy. He had some firepower on his shot. And, kept working in high school. Tremendous high school coaching at Sayville, great job there by Coach Haas and the coaching. Great punt by Garden City, pinning him deep. But Coach Haas, great coaching of Jack Cohen.
The flag there as well. And you talked about Lindenhurst and their quarterbacks. How about Sayville as well, right? The QBs that they've produced as well. Cheshire not playing. I thought he had a chance to play at a higher level. Not playing on the highest level, but playing at, was it Brockport, right? And starting right away.
Brockport's has been a ranked Division III team, turned their program really around Brockport, and they've been a ranked Division III team, so a pretty high level of Division III play. I think a lot of people would be surprised if they saw the good Division III teams play, how good, especially at the quarterback spot, because you got to realize in this day and age of the spread offense, everyone's got a guy at quarterback doing these things. There's still people in the wing tee and some other offenses, but for the most part, the majority of kids are in the spread. And the quarterback development at clinics, coaches, even on Long Island, you have several individuals doing tremendous quarterback development camps. And so kids are progressing at a fast rate. And you'd be surprised how good the level of play is at Division III level. So good for him, Cheshire. He was a very good player a year ago.
1st and 10 for Baldwin from the 12. Ball handed off. And
nice tackle.
Nice tackle. And again, we've mentioned his name a few times, right? Quadratus impacting the game on both levels. And look, when you're a reserve guy, right, you wanna angle yourself in for some more playing time and maybe push the starters. And we've seen it on both sides of the football for the senior Quadratus.
You know what's great about the Garden City thing here is that they're obviously winning the game by a great margin, and they're going to get a great win. But how great is it in week one that every one of your kids gets to play in the game?
Yeah,
they feel good about themselves. They get some reps in the game, and go to practice every day. Parents only see game day, right? And every afternoon they're out here working, and football isn't always the most fun every day. At practice, a lot of repetition, a lot of rote repetition over and over again. Game day is where the fun is at, and everybody gets to have a little bit of it today on the Garden City side. And another thing about Garden City is when you watch these guys play, look at the twos, and now they have some twos and threes playing now, and they all look like they've been coached, right? Nobody seems like they don't know what they're doing or where they're going, and real testament to the staff here at Garden City, Coach Ettinger and the staff coaching every single player, right? Everybody lines up and they know where they're going and what they're doing, and it doesn't look hokey or made up or done on the fly.
That was Malden with the run. Malden again taken down from behind. Good-looking tackle there, which will bring up a 4th down now, 4th and 6.
That punt situation again for Baldwin. It would have been nice for Coach Cementi and his offensive group to get a little momentum and get up some positive plays to put on film, but they'll have to go back and make some corrections. And listen, I said it earlier in the game, you played the best team. You played the best team. It won't be this hard again. It won't be this hard again.
Tough punt from Jean-Pierre final minute here of the third quarter. Mention some of the games we've got coming up for you on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Friday night, under the lights at Oceanside. Gotta think we're gonna have a good outing from the 309, right? They didn't really have a chance to come out much. They came out late in the year in that championship game against Massapequa, but in the spring, I should say. But big student, you love what Oceanside has done there, right, with Coach Blount, and talking about, again, building a culture. Certainly there's a terrific football culture out at Oceanside, and they'll take on the Dalers on Friday night, 6 o'clock kickoff. We'll have that for you.
Yeah, Oceanside, Coach Blount did a great job. Oceanside had been on and off in football, some good years. No disrespect meant to anybody who coached before Coach Blount, but he's made Oceanside football into a football school, and they're very proud of it there, and they had great support by the student body, and nice tackle right there. Number 23, Anthony Byron. But he made a football school there, and they're very proud of it there, and, very strong student body representation. It's a lot of fun Friday night. It's in the 309, right?
Yeah.
They call it the student section there, and should be a good one when Farmingdale comes into town. Both teams, are taking on opponents in week one. They both should be 1-0 if you go by seeding and that type of thing. And
what is it, Daly? Do you have the Dalers score now? I know they were taking on Port Washington.
I believe it's 31-7 now, early in the fourth quarter, Farmingdale, so they'll be on their way. And I believe Oceanside was playing maybe Hempstead today. Might have been the play. Might have been the game. I'm not sure. I have to check that during the break.
And we will take that break now as the third quarter winds down. All Garden City right now. 50-0 is their lead. You're watching this Nassau Conference 2 showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
That was McCarthy. He's got. He's in.
Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside.
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage, and one of many threes on the day.
Interviews, and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050.
Welcome you back to Garden City. Fourth quarter just starting here. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford here. The Trojans are well on their way to a week one win. Went 6-0 in the spring, as we said, winning 40 of their last 42. Their last loss to Lindenhurst, it was a 10-2 season. Loss before that was here, actually, against MacArthur, which snapped a 42-game winning streak, a remarkable number. So I just mentioned they were 40 out of their last 42, but you even go back further.
Sure, a lot of wins there.
Yeah.
I would tell you that team, that Garden City team that they took to the LIC against Lindy, that was a masterful coaching job that year. They did a tremendous job coaching that team to that stage. Lindenhurst was very good.
Now the run you're seeing now, obviously because of the lopsided nature of the score, right? The Garden City guys certainly not making that extra push to get into the end zone. Some sportsmanship on display here by the Trojans.
Sure, I mean, nobody wants to, put anybody in a bad spot or show anybody up, and everyone here is an educator. Everyone's in education, and sports are sports are an extension of school, an extension of the educational process, and all good coaches are good teachers, and a lot of lessons to be learned in learning how to win the right way and lose the right way.
Ettinger had nothing but praise as well for Chimenti, saying, look, he's going to have that program turned around pretty quickly. He has a lot of respect for him at Baldwin, and as you mentioned, there's learning lessons from every game that you play, right? And there's a lot here for those guys right now to break down. While we have a chance, you see their sideline there. Chimenti loves the staff that he's brought along as well. He's got Brian Frazier, the offensive coordinator, coached at Valley Stream Central for a couple of years. Joe Esposito, an alum, also a baseball coach there. So he's that guy who knows the community and has those connections. You've got Mike McQueen as well, a former player for Rosellen, also a former coach at Freeport. He works with the offense and defensive lines. And then Gerald Cunningham, a terrific former player at MacArthur. He works with the quarterbacks and free safeties. He's got that youthful exuberance, one of the younger guys on the staff. So Chimenti really loves the staff that he's put together at Baldwin, and it is a work in progress for them. And as you mentioned, look, you go scrimmage week, a three-way with Freeport and Plain Edge, and then you go week 1 against Garden City. That is the definition of dealing with adversity, and that's what the Bruins have done here. Hand off to Malden, and he'll get back, it looks like, to the line of scrimmage.
Sure. Like I've said a few times already, this will be the toughest week. The Garden City is the top team in the conference. Haven't seen the other teams play. I know, there are some other good teams in the conference, MacArthur and some other teams are. And Cary, I know, is very good. The skill positions, has some guys back. But traditionally, you would say, but this is the program. This is the tough week 1. And just get through it, pop that film in, try to stay healthy, and get back at it next week and try to get better for your opponent in week 2.
Another thing that Chimenti loves here is the second down handoff. Pushed ahead for a few yards is the youth programs. You mentioned it before, right, from Garden City, how these guys played youth football at GC. That's such an important part of the community, and we mentioned Oceanside as well. I think any good team's got that great youth football starting point for their players, and that's the case for Baldwin as well, where the Bombers is their organization. They hit a bit of a tough stretch in recent years where they were close to sort of having the fold, right? They had, I think at one point, like 11, 12 kids in their program. They're up to 100 now, so the Bombers are back, and I think soon thereafter, Baldwin football will be back as well.
Youth football is an interesting dynamic of having enough kids that want to play, but also having competent coaching at that level, And I know in the towns that play really well youth football, such as Garden City, they have men probably still coaching in Garden City youth football who don't have kids playing anymore, who are just giving back. I know in Farmingdale, the Farmingdale Hawks, very successful, Massapequa Mustangs, they have grown men who've been coaching. Their kids have long graduated from high school and not playing anymore, are still giving back to their community. That makes things a little bit easier. If they can get the Bombers back on track down in Baldwin, that'll certainly help, because you can get a few guys on your team who don't have a lot of experience and they can figure football out. But to have kids with a base of knowledge of how to do certain things in the sport is invaluable, invaluable to have.
Nice tackle by James Ervolino on 4th down, so Garden City will take over on the Baldwin 25-yard line. Next up for Garden City, they take on New Hyde Park at home. And then there's that matchup you mentioned. For a few years there was a pretty heated rivalry where it seemed like every year they were meeting up at Hofstra, Cary, and Garden City, Mike Stanley's Seahawks. That's week 3, and then they go to Long Beach in week 4. Valley Stream Central week 5, Mepham week 6 on the road, and then the big showdown week 7 against MacArthur right here at GC. They finish up at Elmont in week 8.
Not going out on a limb to say we're going to win a lot of those games. If I was a betting man, take Garden City and the over.
Obviously with the score as it is, running clock here in the second half. There you go, buddy. And some movement up front on the inside. for Baldwin, which will push Garden City up 5 yards that they not necessarily want to take right now.
No, difficult spot for both teams in right now. It's time winding down, trying to get players in the game, trying to run plays, trying to show anybody up, win the right way, lose the right way. Nature of high school athletics.
Pitch goes far side. And running out of bounds was Garcia.
Yep. Stay in bounds for just stay in bounds.
Well, the clock will continue
It'll
to
continue to run.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
It will be second down for the Trojans.
See, another thing the Garden City staff is great at is, they're used to winning a lot of the time, right? But then they're probably very used to having success, but also keeping the kids in the right frame of mind about their success, right? And being able to come the next week and get the job done and not get too full of their success, right? And they're very veterans in that situation and getting kids grounded and being able to work every week, create the weekly challenges, right? And obviously scoring 50, pitching a shutout. Check a lot of good boxes on the football field, but they'll find plays and there'll be plenty of plays in the game they have to fix on, right? Things to fix and get better.
I haven't seen Ben up here all game.
They will do just that, as we are under 6 minutes left in this one. It'll be a 3rd and 8 for Garden City. So we got third QB now, right? Is it?
Number 20.
Handoff there. It's Ryan Mayer, the senior, number 20. Can't say that I went this deep in my conversation with Dave Ettinger and depth chart wise.
Well, now you know.
Now we do know. QB3 is Ryan Mayer.
Fourth down and short here.
Handoff. And what a great job as well.
Got a flag down. I'll be coming back.
Well, even there, he just made sure he didn't go in the end zone. Cotradas, it looked like, right? 40. And as you said, a flag is down. We invite you as well to check out our social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter. We'll have a lot of announcements coming up on upcoming broadcasts. We mentioned next weekend's 2 for sure that we have. And again, Friday night, Oceanside, Farmingdale at 6 o'clock. And then on Saturday, we'll have Wantagh and Bethpage.
Warriors and Golden Eagles. It's always a good one.
2 more great youth programs, right, between those 2.
Sure.
Cotradas breaks the first tackle, but then he's taken down by Aaron Pittman, number 2.
Not only good youth programs, but, the Garden City guys are very well coached at junior high level. They're very well coached at the JV level. Good coaches all the way through the program. And that'll be another thing Coach Chimenti will work on, making sure he's got good raw-level guys.
Well, that's exactly the point I was going to mention, because that's one thing he said as well, where, he likes the coaches that he has at all levels, and he's going to have everybody coaching the same way and running the same stuff, so you're well drilled once you get up to varsity, having played the same way in middle school and on JV as well.
Sure, football is one of those sports where practice is invaluable. Getting coached correctly is invaluable, because you're not going to play football in March, April, and May, June. You're not going to play it outside the season. It only happens. The beauty of football is it only happens during football season. There's no summer football.
Yeah, no. I mean, some 7-on-7s, right? But that's not football. Not true football, right?
No, I mean, yeah, sure, you're working with your quarterbacks, receivers, but in terms of like playing outside the season, it's pretty hard to get better at the nuance of the things without that happens during the season, basically. So those lower levels, those kids you have down there that are playing in the young levels have to get coached if you want to be successful.
On the far side of the field, there's 2 kids chasing. No, seriously, Dylan wants to talk about it. Far right.
So 3 minutes coming down.
Dylan wants to talk about it. After this play.
Hand off, another running play. And a short gain here. You wonder, Mike, is this part of the youth football training? Like, look, in Rocky, right? You saw Rocky chasing after a chicken, right, or a rooster. Is this what you do, too, at Garden City? Chase after some geese on the other side of the field?
Hey, tie those little guys out. Get home, take a nap, get on the couch. 3:30 games will be on.
There you go.
Got games on tonight.
Is that where Cascadden started with his tenacity? Maybe.
He caught those geese, I'm telling you right now. Those geese had no chance.
Third down running play out to the 30-yard line.
Some of the best youth football games played when you're a little kid. It has a high school game right in the outfield or on the side field.
Yeah.
Choose up teams. Awesome stuff.
See, I'm a city guy, so the football that we played growing up in Sunnyside and Queens was, you make a left at the Ford, and you just watch out for incoming traffic. And it's just,
a little different in the city, right?
Yeah. Not as much greenery to be had.
Some good teams in the city. I've heard. I've seen some city football and good, Catholic school teams in the city and some private school teams in the city.
Yeah, and again, with my conversation with Chimenti, I think the only thing I didn't like was that he said he was from Holy Cross, where he and I are about 2 years difference in our high school years. He's 2 years older than I and played at Holy Cross. I went to St. Francis Prep, and we had some great teams there as well. Marco Battaglia leading my group when I was a senior. We won the championship, by the way, as we close out this game. Our final, or 3 years in a row, lost in my senior year. Not to Holy Cross, but to Monsignor Farrell. But that's a story for another day. Final here out at Garden City. It is 50-0 for the Trojans. A thorough win for Garden City. Overall takes, Mike, from this Week 1 win for the guys in maroon.
Garden City is as advertised. It's great skill position players, tough guys, excellent coaching, everything you think they would be. The Baldwin guys, this will not be, my prediction is, will not be indicative of who they are. Coach Chimenti does a great job. They'll build on it and they'll get better.
They will certainly get better. We'll wrap things up now and want to thank our crew. We've got Larry Caritney, John Ferrara, bringing you all the images here. The great Brian Butler to my right, directing, and of course, Mike Hungerford. I'm Dylan Butler, thanking you again for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hold on one sec. You just roll up right here. You guys are done.
Arjulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later. Going long, wide open, Perazzi, he gets it, Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it, touchdown, punch, counter punch. The Frickery Rider gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman, what a catch! This Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction, make it, touchdown, touchdown East.